Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite formations to use after this patch. Don't get me wrong, the game still pisses me off. You guys know how I feel about it, but in terms of general movement, in terms of a team that I've actually been enjoying, or a formation and tactic that I've actually been enjoying using recently, I'm going to let you guys know what it is right now. Now, take this into account that this is through draft gameplay, right? But these tactics are, one, very fun to use, right? Because the general movement of the players, and two, it's debatable whether it's good against the park the bus meta. Because for me personally, guys, when I play FIFA now, especially since the finesse shot meta is gone, I turn time shooting off. I'm not going to do that bullshit cross to the far posting anymore. The time finesse shot was a necessity, and so are those, but I cannot be asked to do crosses and all that shit, right? So I'm not going to be doing that. I turn time finishing off. So it's all about build up now. It's all about getting into the box and shooting. As you guys know, the shooting is very inconsistent. So if you still miss your opportunities, it's going to piss you off because the shooting is terrible in this game, right? Especially against a good defensive AI. But I want to tell you guys what tactics and instructions that I've been using, right? You guys will see gameplay afterwards in terms of the stuff that I was using in regards to the formation that I was using, so on and so forth. The 4-3-3 false 9 is one of my favorite formations to use so far. Let me explain why, right? The general movement of the team is significantly better for what the meta fits nowadays. And I'll explain why. When you have two wingers, and this really depends on the types of people you can afford in your team, because if you're going to go for cheaper cards, this formation might not be good, because the two positions or the three positions that are very important to heavily improve is the three midfielders, right? The top, you can suffice with the Heung-min Son and all that type of stuff, although obviously the Neymars and all those dudes are way better, right? The three midfielders are the most important. So if you can get like Laurent Blanc as your CDM, and then you get like two good center mids like Paul Pogba, those types of players, that's going to be ideal, because the height is so huge nowadays, right? Especially with being able to do the reach around tackles and stuff, being able to stretch out your leg to get the ball, to intercept it, so on and so forth, right? So let's look at the formation, right? We're going to get into the tactics part, and I'm only going to show you one of the tactics that I use, because again, I've been trying this out in draft, and this is the only formation that I really like. I like the 4-4-2, but I don't really like the 4-4-2, right? And again, really depends on the tactics that you use. So the tactics I've been using with the false 9 have actually been pressure on heavy touch. As you guys know, gameplay, most of the times your players are going to take heavy touches, so there's no point in not trying to utilize this and see how that works. Again, pressure on heavy touch is not the meta, guys. It's not the meta, but because the meta nowadays is drop back and park the bus, right? But pressure on heavy touch is very fun to get the ball back nicely and still be able to defend decently, right? When people make certain passes in certain areas, your players apply a really good amount of pressure for you to get the ball back, right? So the way that the width is set up, right? I think the default is usually set up like this, 5 and 5. So I would just put the depth on 4, and then I would keep the width on 5, because you don't want to, crosses are still very effective, so you don't want to be able to allow people to, exploit the sides a whole lot, right? In terms of offensive style, we keep it on balanced, right? Players in the box is set to 4 because of my play style of not wanting to cross the ball, but I still want them to push their defensive line back, right? Because that's a big thing. It's not necessarily having players in the box and, oh, now they're pointless. It's about pushing them back to, utilize the space on the outside, right? So I put players in the box set to 4 to be able to have a balance between the two. Now, the big one is the instructions, right? So I've experimented with different things. And again, the instructions are very based on the players that you are using in your team, okay? One thing I'm going to say is I played one of the drafts, the gameplays you guys are going to see, I played Thierry Henry as my center mid, and he was incredible there, even without defensive work rates, and the reason, or defensive stats in general. And the reason why he was so good is because of the fact that he's a tall guy, he's fast, he doesn't feel like shit in terms of transitioning left and right with him, and he'll come back on defense fast. But I also had the instruction, right, set to balanced for both of my center mids, and both of my center mids were Heung-min Son and Thierry Henry. The balance is a little bit awkward when I was trying them out because I'll explain why. You got Sun with high work rates, and then you have Thierry Henry with medium work rates. So both together in terms of the balance between them and the CDM, who was Conte at the time, 90 informed Conte, medium high work rates, which medium high is a must. Don't use any other work rates, okay? Don't use high highs, don't use any of that shit. Medium high is the only one that you should really use, okay? I like Conte's card. But the thing about Conte, and you will notice this right off the bat, when you use this card every time, is the fact that he is not tall enough. Because his transitioning left and right is fantastic, but he is just not tall enough, right? The height is very, very important, especially since he's a CDM. You want to be able to win the ball sometimes in the air when he's the one that's challenging for it, right? So, you know, the way that the tactics are set up is like this, guys. So I use stay back while attacking and overlap for the fullbacks. Overlap so that my fullbacks never go inverted on the inside. I don't want them to cut inside ever, right? I want them to stay out wide because, and this is why I like this formation, this is very important, this is why the 4-4-2 and the 4-3-3 works out so well. It's because you can really utilize the space behind when a fullback from the opposition's team is committing forward. So when they commit forward, it allows you to exploit that space behind you or behind them, right? Because their fullbacks overcommit. It's a stupid mechanic in the game, but that's why it's so effective, right? The CDM, stay back while attacking, cover center. I never experiment too much with the man mark and the cut passing lanes. I feel like when he man marks, he actually puts himself out of position, and I never necessarily want him to do that, so that's why I don't really use that too much. And then again, depending on the players you're using or depending on the situation, you should have two different tactics set up, right? The beginning and the way that you should start up the game first, in my opinion, is you should have balanced, right? Balance is you're not touching anything, right? Except for obviously cover center, because you should obviously always cover center. Or you can cover wing too. Try it out, because people always cover the center, but it actually might be ideal to cover the wing, because if you overcommit your fullback, your center mid will go and commit to that fullback area, right? So try it out and see which one works out best for you guys. And I'm going to show you guys some draft gameplay in terms of the teams that we ended up working with and showing the highlights of all of that. But yeah, you could try cover wing and cover center. Cover wing is good when you overcommit with your fullback, and then your center mid goes to occupy the fullback spot, and then your fullback goes to occupy the center mid spot. And if you have good fullbacks, you're fine. Kyle Walker, Alexandro, so on and so forth. The top part, I don't touch. I literally do not tell them anything else but just to play the way they're playing. If I feel like that they should stay out wide more often, then I will tell them to stay wide, right? But it always depends in game. So you should have two different tactics set up with this formation. I never do this in drafts because I'm too lazy to have two different tactics. You always have to reset it every time you do a new draft, right? So I have stay back while attacking and overlap for the fullbacks. Because my last draft was with Heung-min Son and Thierry Henry as my center mids, I kept them both unbalanced in the center mid area. Stay back while attacking, cover center for the CDM, right? And then for the top, I didn't touch them at all, right? I didn't even tell them to come back in defense. But you should have another tactics, right, that is set up to come back or to stay back while attacking for the center mids, right? And to come back in defense for your left winger and right winger. You should have two of those tactics set up, so that way if you ever want to switch between the two and see if it's better to overexploit the person's attack or to just be more conservative, it's really going to be down to you, right? So those are the tactics that I use in game. You guys are going to see the general movement of the players. You'll notice that the three wingers are, because they're balanced, they just play to their characteristics. So just take that into account when you guys are watching the gameplay. You guys know me. Now that this patch has been fixed in regards to playing drafts have become more fun now because you actually have to break down people's defense. But the reason why this game still pisses me off to the core is because the finishing is so dog shit when you do get into good positions. Like, I've lost like 2 or 3 games from the drafts today, literally because I couldn't score 1v1s. But one guy that beat me 4-0 or 4-3, 2 kickoffs, a near post corner that I called before he even hit it, and the 4th one was a deflection when I blocked him perfectly. But I couldn't score 2 different 1v1s just to shoot it across goal. So I still hate the finishing with a deep passion, but this is the formation that I like the most. So I hope you guys enjoy the highlights of those. If you guys are interested in following the streams, be sure to follow me at twitch.tv/inceptionxx. I'm probably going to start doing morning and afternoon streams. Don't expect me to play Division Rivals and Champs because those games are so pay to win, except for the first 14 games of Champs, that it's just not fun for me to do. I like playing drafts because it forces me to use different players, different tactics, different formations. That's why I like playing the game mode, even though the rewarding system is very, very poor. So Hope you guys enjoy the highlights. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video by the end of it, be sure to subscribe, like, all that fun stuff if you guys are interested in staying with the community, right? So, peace out, my dudes. Love you guys. Yeah, they're all like that, though. I was hoping that this promo would have good stuff and content for us. No, everything that they release is paid to get our content. That's not going to change anytime soon.
Conte, Caliber, on to Riyad Mahrez. Here's Conte. Son, El Nene. Well, he put it away brilliantly. That kind of... Here's Conte. Thierry Henry. Neymar. And now it's Henry. Conte to Neymar, just to keep it to beat.
Sodadi, thank you so much for the Prime sub, man. I appreciate that, dude. Much love, brother. Thank you very much, man.
Much more members in this attack.
In Nick's stream, everyone is going crazy about the new promo and cards, and you're struggling to find a game. Subs up the state of FIFA right now. Everyone's like that, though, man. There's YouTube videos that I watch where people complete the SBC, and then they don't try out the card in game. What is the point of that?
Played in the clear. Shot off. Bounced back off the post. Stephen Defoe.
And I don't get the win. Nice. He actually quit too. Because there's certain positions, because the players do bad touches anyways. The players go on top of them like right away. Not as inviting, but it also creates gaps in the sides and stuff. This I knew I should not have played against this. I knew I shouldn't have played against this green. Fuck, man. And I'm stupid because I still do it like a dumbass. Why am I so dumb, chat? Oh my god. I'm so fucking stupid.
Conte. Hernandez. Played down the wing, keeping the wide attack going. Here's Conte. Neymar. Thierry Henry with a lovely pass.
Let's go.
Good to know how much longer. Conte.
Good finish, Henry. It's a kickoff, but that finish part alone is definitely his characteristic.
To certain goal until the defender managed to get some contact.
That's just instinct, but that is top defending.
A chance to break away now on the counter. Mahrez. That is a free kick. And they've got a chance to really make the most of that decision.
Well, the keeper knows. He knows he's got a shot.
Real chance. Never panicked. Placed it. Got up. Great goalkeeper. Great save.
Well, he shouldn't have had a prayer there, but he's so agile, this keeper.
Decided that this time they're going to play the short corner. Vittel. And they've scored. Well, they've cut the margin by one.
These guys fucking, oh my, especially Blanc as a center back. Jesus Christ, man. That guy's a beast, bro. I fuck with Vinicius Jr. a lot, by the way. He's such a good card in this game. But he has no physical presence. Oh look, it's 3-1, chat. That makes a lot of sense.
Attacking now. And now it's Henry. Conte. chipping away, trying to find room for a shot maybe. Must take the lead here, which they do in good style.
They played some good football leading up to that, Martin, and thoroughly deserved that goal.
So the first goal, it's 1-0.
Yeah, it was a half-decent chance, maybe snatched at it a touch.
Riyad Mahrez. Conte. Lacazette. Trying to thread a pass through, but not successful. Attacking well here. Son. Conte. In with a chance. Oh, that's a fantastic goal. Just widen the margin here to 2-0. Antonio Valencia, the pass, and it went straight to an opponent. Lacazette gone out for a goal kick. It's a fine goal, and we can see it again here.
Well, the body shape wasn't textbook, but it doesn't matter. The finish was top right-hand corner.
And they've got a man out wide. Neymar. Henry! It's Henry!
You guys have no idea what I'd be able to do in Foot Champs if I had these players, bro. You guys have no idea, bro.
I have to say, it's so...
You have no idea, chat. Heel to heel would be an abusive mechanic if doing driven shots was good, but it doesn't really get you in any position that's helpful. It just gives you extra acceleration.
Lost the ball, and the counter-attack could be there. Neymar. Mahrez. Now, can he take them on? Good vision. And he scored! Neymar just lent the ball to his mate. Neymar! Neymar!
Kickoff is crazy, man.
Fine moment for them. They've got a firmer grip on the game now. They're 2 ahead.
Nobody dribbles like that, by the way. It's like when you're using Mahrez in terms of that quickness, it just doesn't really go off.
Hazard. Good ball well back here. And Henry scores! It's a certain yellow card, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Looking back on it.
So the way this is gonna work is this.
You almost sense the crowd getting nervous here because this lad can be so...
Mahrez!
There we go.
And they have scored. And they do lead. Now the countdown.
See, having Mars on the team, nuisance, man. And that's the type of player that I use all the time. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like when you use these guys, dude, you know who's the nuisance in your team. Like that run that Mars makes.
Son. With Conte. Neymar. Thierry Henry.
If it's like different types of players, like it's on another level, man.
They just couldn't get near him.
You just need the right players in the teams, though. If you don't have the right players, it doesn't really work out that well. Baby Northwest, what's up, man? Just want to say I watched your video on patch earlier today, brother. Totally 100% correct on finishing the game is a complete lottery at the moment. You have no idea what's going to happen to you when you shoot timed or not. Yes. I actually, I turned off time shooting. I think this guy actually sells. Better than the 4-2-3-1 narrow. I don't like the 4-2-3-1 narrow anymore. That's why I sold my team in Division Rivals, because it was piss poor. The openings that people had against me were disgusting. But it's also because I don't have the right players for that formation, I think. Every time I use Conte, I like that his general movement is very good, but I always feel like I need a tall presence there, you know, a big guy, and no boards for winning the draft. But I got 2 boards for winning the draft, or for losing the draft in the 3rd round. Very nice. That's what I like to see.